say hi, guys?
Yes.
Good boy. And then welcome to my channel.
My
Yay! Hi, guys. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you're new, Karibu, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for always making time to come and be with me. I have my water here ready. You can see Mikey is nicely seated here. He might fall asleep. Water and apple. What are you? Apple and yeah, water. Good. Cheers. Cheers. So, guys, I want to speak about the things that I'm actually struggling with as an immigrant here in America. As an immigrant from Kenya, Africa, I felt the need to do this video to help someone who is transitioning soon or who will be transitioning soon from Kenya or Africa to here in the US. Now, I think before we can proceed, the one thing I need to say is I have never been confused in my life the way I am right now here in this new land. You know, the way even some people, when they finish like high school, because in Kenya, when you finish high school, you have to wait some time and then now you can join campus. And I think that's the drill for most countries. Yeah. When I finished high school, I had a plan. I knew what I wanted to do. You know, I've never been confused in my life. I always had a plan. And as someone who is an overthinker and someone who is a perfectionist, you can imagine how much then I'm always having a plan. And I realized when I landed here, you know, the honeymoon phase is starting to fade off, and you know, hubby has gone back to work, and now I'm left in the house with the baby, and I'm just, yes, editing videos and then cooking and cleaning and taking care of Mikey, and then after that, you know, so I get so many people, you know, asking me, so what is your plan? What are you planning to do? You know, which course do you think you're gonna take? Which career line are you going to take? And I find myself not in a position to answer that question because I honestly don't know. So that for sure is my number one point. I'm completely confused. I do not know what career path I want to go to or to go with. I do not know. I don't know what I want to do because I feel like I'm just having to start from scratch. I feel like a baby. So, having said that, let me now go into the things that I'm really struggling with here. And number one on the list is immunity or illness. This still gives me some emotions because I keep remembering how bad things were when I got here. And I'm just like, the grace of God has been sufficient. So I was a very healthy person back in Kenya, like healthy. In my whole life up to now, the only time I had gone to the hospital or been admitted was when I was giving birth to our son. I cannot even tell you the last time I went to see a doctor. So coming here, there was a whole shift, a whole change, and I think my body was in shock, literally. The first week, the first day, I puked, and so I blamed the food that we had on the plane. After puking, migraine, headaches. I had headaches that were not going away. I would take Tylenol, the pain would not go away. I would drink water. There was one night I remember I was praying, I was telling God, please don't kill me, please don't take me, don't take my life. My child needs me, my children need me, my husband needs me. I was praying, literally. I was like, what? I've never had that kind of headache in my life. And I'm telling you, those headaches went on for 2 weeks. For 2 good weeks, I had headache morning to evening. Morning to evening. Now, to show you how much I hate hospitals and I hate medicine and I was just very, very strong. My husband was like, let's go to the hospital. I was like, no, I can manage. But I just didn't want to go to the hospital. But I'll tell you also why I did not want to go to the hospital in the next point. Aside from headaches, the other thing I had was fever. Now, for fever, it was different. Fever would come different days, it wasn't constant. I ended up buying lots of supplements, a lot of them. Let me attach a video here of all the supplements that I'm taking and that I've been taking, and those have seemed to really help me. So these days, I don't have headache. So these are the vitamins that I'm taking. There's this multivitamin gummies for women. It had to be gummies because, guys, I hate medicine. And these are really good. They taste very nice. Then I'm taking probiotic and prebiotics. I also bought this. So in relation to illness, let me talk about the second thing that I'm really struggling with here in America. and that's healthcare. Well, guys, let us learn to appreciate the things that we have in our countries as Africans. So someone will be like, so why are you struggling with healthcare? I mean, America is the superpower. They have the best, medical. They could have the best, but it's not affordable and it's not accessible. It's not easily accessible and it's not affordable. So even if it's the best, which I'm not sure, that could be debatable. That is debatable. So when we landed, there was me. I was unwell, but that was not the problem. He had issues with his head, those things there. And so we needed to get him to see a pediatrician or get treated. And that's when we started the whole journey of taking him to hospital. First, he was born in Kenya. His dad at the time put him on his insurance. So his dad gets insurance with his job, which I'm part of, right? So when we're in Kenya, we could not use that insurance. I remember everything that we ever did in Kenya. And that insurance is Aetna, actually. I thought Aetna is an international insurance provider, but they never covered us in Kenya when we were in Kenya. Even when we gave birth, they told my husband, yeah, you guys can go ahead and cover the bill, and then you just send us the receipts, and then we'll reimburse you. They lied to my husband. And then hubby went ahead to do that. And when we sent the claim for them to reimburse us, they rejected the claim. But anyway, that's a story for another day. So we've never been treated by Aetna, even when we're in Kenya. So he was on the insurance, but it wasn't active. His name was not active. So when he got here, they cover. Now it will be easier for them to cover us here because we're within the borders of America. And somehow he was still not like reflecting, because I remember we went to the hospital that day and he was supposed to be checked. And so we're giving the insurance, details, and they check he's not active. He's not an active member of that, insurance card. And so at that point now we're hit with this thing of, okay, so what do we do? If you're paying out of pocket, my friend, paying out of pocket is not even it's not even in the discussion. It's not even in the discussion. So that was not even in the books. So we go ahead to try and find out how or why he's not active. And so they, hubby calls them when you're still at the hospital, and they say, oh yeah, we are going to activate it, but it's gonna take time. And I'm like, okay, so how long does it take? So they gave us a day, which was like 5 days from that day when we were calling. So we had to go home. There's no way he could be treated that day. So we went home. If I was in Kenya, would have comfortably paid out of pocket. But here, you dare not. You dare not pay for hospital bills out of pocket. You're gonna end up bankrupt. It's expensive. That's what I'm trying to say. It's expensive. Now, after seeing all that mess, that was the first one, and then the second one, my husband had some issue with his arm, and so he needed to go to the hospital. And so, because it was really serious, when you see a man in pain, it's serious. So I'm telling him, so you go to the hospital, and said, yeah, I've called, and the only appointment that is available is 18th. So he gives me a date, and I'm like, wait, that's like 3-4 weeks from now. And he's like, yeah. I'm like, but you're in pain. How will you wait for all that weeks or for all those weeks? Back in Kenya now, in perspective, back in Kenya, you feel pain, you unwell, you wake up, you go to the hospital, you're treated, and you go back home. You finish that business. There's nothing of, I don't know, book an appointment and all that. So that really surprised me. So even when I was now dealing with the illness, the struggle that I was dealing with, I kept playing these two scenarios in my mind, and I'm like, no, it's not worth it. Let me just try and manage myself. It's not like really worth it. So here, yeah, healthcare is pretty expensive, and it's not easily accessible. And I was even asking Abby, so how do people survive here? Like when you get sick, like when you're really sick, what happens? And he was telling me, yeah, you go to the emergency room. Hey, that's another thing. Now go to the emergency room. That's where all the money is. Hi, my friends. Well, let's appreciate what we have back in Kenya and back in Africa in general. So the other thing that I'm struggling with is sleep schedule. Somehow my body is still in the Kenyan system, Kenyan time. And so what ends up happening is I sleep during the day here in America, and then during the night I am so wide awake. So when you look at it, because we are 8-9 hours ahead of or behind Kenya, behind. So Kenya is ahead of us, 8-9 hours, depending on the season that we are in. When you look at that pattern, it simply means I'm sleeping the Kenyan time. I'm really trying. Like I'm really trying to give myself, schedules to where I can sleep. And every time I try to ask to force myself to sleep the way like I should be sleeping here, I end up waking up. Like if I go to bed at night and I say I want to sleep because it's night, you find I'm only sleeping for 3 hours. Only 3 hours. And then I wake up and I'm so fresh. Like I wake up completely fresh. I feel relaxed. I feel like I've had 7 to 8 hours of sleep. But when I go to bed at during the day here, which is now night time in Kenya, I sleep 7 to 8 hours. Good sleep, So I don't know how to get my body, but I have to keep practicing until I get to, you know, um, the time that the right schedule that's for here, because otherwise I end up struggling. It ends up being a little bit hard on me, especially if we have activities that we're doing during the day, because then now I'm very tired. We're very tired, me and him. The other thing that I'm struggling with here is food. It had to be in the list. Food. Growing up, we never marinate our meats. This thing of marinating food, I started seeing it in movies and with the whites. And I thought it's like it's just a whites thing. Whites are always just extra. So they have to marinate their meats. But when I landed here, I understood that marinating of the meat is not show off, by the way, by the whites. It's not a show off. It is a necessity. This is something they have to do. Because if they don't, that meat will not meet. That meat will not meet. That meat will not be meeting. That fish will not be fishing. That, like, the food will not be tasting like food if they don't marinate it. The meats here, I cannot explain to you. But aside from that, I've noticed I'm struggling with heartburn. I've never suffered heartburn even when I was pregnant with him. But landing here, heartburn has started. I'm just not enjoying. Like, I'm finding it a little bit hard to adapt to the food, and so I avoid eating out a lot. The other thing that I'm struggling with is language. Now, I know that comes off as okay, why are you struggling and they're all speaking English? Let me tell you how my struggle now comes in. I've studied in Kenya. I studied in Kenya all my life. And in Kenya, we study the Queen's language, which is the UK English. Here, Americans are inventors. So they invented their own English, which is called the US English. Okay? Which is different from the UK English. So I'm really struggling with that because I am used to the UK English. I never really used to struggle. It was just me and my husband, but now there's a whole pool of people, and it becomes really, 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 really a challenge. And I don't like to be challenged, especially when it comes to speaking. So now I'm feeling like it's like I've never even gone to school. Like, this is now me being very honest with you guys. I feel like it's like I've never gone to school, coming from expressing yourself in board meetings and killing it and acing it, and then you're coming now here and you're like, you actually literally feel like you've never been to school, you've never been to a classroom where people can speak, where people are being taught how to speak English, because then it's so different here. And then the other thing, when I'm talking about language, maybe let me just add that, people think actually that America only speaks English, but one thing I'm learning is, I don't know if it's a Texas thing. Let me know in the comment section in the state that you are. I'm in Texas. So I don't know if this issue is only in Texas, but we have so many Spanish speaking people. Like, so many Spanish speaking people are here. That's not something that you would think about when you're outside of the US. You think the US is comprised of English speakers. But I realized there's a lot of Spanish speaking people. And so even when you go to so many places, you'd find languages are translated twice. There's English and there's Spanish, even when you receive pamphlets from banks and everything, they come in two languages, English and Spanish. We never find that thing in Kenya. Like, in Kenya, the two most spoken languages are English and Swahili, but you never find us translating things, same things between English and Swahili. And you see, I actually realized that the Spanish speaking community here is a big deal, They make up such a huge part of this economy, It's serious that even when you're applying for jobs, they only ask you Latin, white, or black American. Like, I was Latin or Spanish, black American or white, So you have to like identify your race. And then for people who are bilingual, like if you speak English and Spanish, you end up being more marketable, because among the jobs that I've actually been applying for, you'd find them saying if you speak Spanish, it's an added advantage. Why? Because the company will serve the Spanish speaking people here. So having someone who understands both English and the Spanish language then is very good for them, because they don't have to pay extra for that. I was surprised by that aspect, like really surprised. Yeah, but me, I'll keep speaking the English that I know. If with time I end up learning or adapting to this English here, then find a good. But I've left myself to fate. The other thing that I'm struggling with is driving. Now, if you're watching this, you're in Africa and you plan to relocate abroad and you don't know how to drive, I'm giving you free advice. Go and learn how to drive. It will help you. You will need it. Learning how to drive here or driving here is not a luxury, it's a necessity for you to be able to survive. So for me, I'm really struggling because when my husband is working and he's not home, I'm literally paralyzed. If I'm not relying on companies to deliver things to me, or like we have those delivery apps, then I'm literally paralyzed. Like I can't go anywhere, I can't do anything. So I'm working towards improving that, of course, by learning how to drive. Oh my god. Yeah. But driving is one thing I'm really struggling with, and I really hope that I can make that change soon. The other thing that I'm struggling with, and you can see that's why I have my hair open like this, is my hair. As neat as you can see this hair looking, I've not washed this hair since I landed in this country. That's one. Number two, I've been trying to look for a salon that can do my hair. I've not just had any luck. My hair is relaxed. It has chemical in it. And so doing my hair is not just washing. I'll need to treat it and I'll need to dry it. And usually I use a dryer. I don't use back home, and I never used to use blow dry. I would avoid it because of, the heat is too much for my hair. So dryer works perfectly. So you can imagine the struggle that I'm having. I have never been so comfortable with the idea of shaving my hair like I am right now. Anybody who knows me knows that I love my hair. But where we are right now, I am so comfortable with the idea of shaving this hair. And I'm like, you know what? It's new beginnings. I'll just manage life here without hair. When I go back to my home country, I'll hair will grow again and I'll go back to having hair. So I'm a little scared of how I will look like once I shave, but I think that's my only solution. I remember growing up, there was a time my mom had lost her job and we became very, 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 very poor. There was, oh man, some things you never want to think about. So I remember there was a time I'd come from school and I was on midterm, and of course I'm telling my mom I need money to go to the salon to have my hair treated, because I relaxed my hair from like way back. And so my mom was like, I don't have the money to relax hair, but I don't have the money to treat hair, but we have all the things that you need here. Like there's a shampoo there, there's treatment. Yeah, just wash it with that and stay on the sun and let it sun dry. And so I had to do it. I had to wash my hair and treat it in the house because I did not have money to go to the salon. And I'm telling you, I hated it, and I vowed to myself, I will never wash my hair in the house. I will never wash my hair in the house when I get to the point where I can afford to have it washed in a salon. And so this is me choosing my battles, because I know the only and best way for me to manage this hair is if I buy all the ingredients, all the is if I buy all the items and I have them in the house and I can do everything for myself. That's something I vowed I'm not going to do, and I will not let myself go back or go against my word. So the salons here, I'm having a hard time getting a salon and I cannot do the hair myself. So the best way is I'm choosing my struggles. And then last but not least, the other thing that I'm struggling with here in America is childcare. Where back in Kenya you have like so many, there was that help. But here It's a little challenging, it's a little difficult. First, we live like 4 hours drive from my husband's parents, and then the other thing is they're both working. My mom-in-law and my dad-in-law, they all work. So really, you can't ask them to stop their job to come and take care of your child. And then the other thing is the daycare option. So we need to start hunting for daycares, but also they're not as affordable as Kenya. Schools here, especially in Texas, your child will only start school when they're 5, but then there's preschool. But even the preschool, you have to apply, and it's only for specific people. According to the information I've gathered so far, is it's only for the low income earners. So you have to prove that you're a low income earner because it's free. That preschool is only available for low income earners, and you also have to prove. I think my husband was telling me for children who don't speak like English properly, they have like they're bilingual kids, and Mikey would fall into that because he speaks Swahili and English, so they would want to teach the child English or something. I'm still not able to wrap my head around the system here. Like it's something I'm really trying to read and research more on. So we are supposed to go and try our luck with the preschool, see if he's going to be um, allowed because he's turning 3. So preschool is 3 to, I'm not sure if it's 3 to 5 years because you only start school. Stop, because you'll only start school when they're 5. So between then, you either do daycare or preschool. Where we're really trying to work out something that will work for Mikey, because we're also feeling like he's bored staying in the house. There's no much activity to do for him, and we need him to also create. Mikey is he's an outgoer. He's a people's person. So sometimes I look at him playing alone, and I'm like, am I failing him? Is he bored? We'll go outside, yeah, I'll let him play outside. But it's not the same as if he was going to interact with other kids, like what he's used to back in Kenya. So we're really trying to work on that and see what will work for us. If preschool is not accepted, because my husband might not be under the low income earners, but we're going to try on the basis of he's bilingual, you know. So most of the Spanish speaking kids, Spanish and English speaking kids are usually taken in because of that. So let's hope he can get in because of the Swahili English or bilingual thing. Yeah, so basically that's it. Those are some of the things that I'm struggling with. On the flip side, there's always two sides to the coin. I'm actually enjoying it, but my enjoyment is coming from 99% being that we are family and we're together. My husband is here with us. Our son is here with us. Like, we are a family. That's the major exciting thing, about us being here in this country. So we keep building slowly build a life and just see where we move from here. So if you're relocating soon to America, you might want to arm yourself with anything that might make some of those challenges that I've spoken about, or some of those struggles that I've spoken about, easy. And for those who have immigrated here, maybe you've stayed for some time, what are some of the tips that you can give someone who is coming in? What did you do? What worked for you? And if you're an OG here in America, you've stayed here for like 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, what advice do you have for someone who is coming in? Let's have that conversation in the comment section, and I'll see you guys in the next one. As always, remember to be kind to one another, love one another, and treasure every minute you spend with one another, because tomorrow is not promised. Ciao! Yay! Maki is a YouTuber officially. Are you a YouTuber? Okay, let's say it again. As always, remember to be kind to one another, love one another, and treasure every minute you spend with one another, because tomorrow is not promised. Ciao. High five, my love. Yay! Will you tell them bye bye?
Bye-bye.
Say mwah. No, blow them a kiss. Good boy. Say I love you.
I miss you.
No, tell them. Look at them and tell them I love you.
I miss you.
I say see you later.
I'll see you later.
Say see you later.
I'll see you later.
Good boy. Thank you, my love.